Cashflow Pro offers free money management advice to help you take control of your finances. And now here's your host, personal finance enthusiast and licensed insurance broker, James Barber.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Oregon Cashflow Pro. My name is James Barber. I'm here to help you maximize your cash flow. This is our Wealth Care Wednesdays. It's when we're going to take some time out of our week and try and figure out if we're doing the best that we can with our money. So if you guys have questions, I'm here to try and help. You can ask me about anything finance related. We talk dynamic banking, infinite banking, specially designed high cash value life insurance policies, stocks, credit cards, credit scores, loans, mortgages. If you got a question about it, feel free to ask it in the chat, and I will do my best to educate you with what I know. And oftentimes, if I don't know, some other folks in the chat might be able to chime in to help out. Cindy, how are you doing this evening? Manuel, good evening. And Matthew Doherty, welcome to the Cashflow community. Thanks for joining us. So, how are you guys doing today? We've got, it's been an interesting last few weeks. It's been an interesting last few weeks in the life insurance world. We've got new regulations that came in for the IUL illustrations. And those ones came through on December 14th. Well, I remember December 14th. That's when it changed our illustrations for Allianz, among other carriers. But Allianz is the main one that I like to write. So that one changed for sure. And it's been pretty interesting. So these changes came about because Pacific Life had a number of lawsuits against it. They had instituted a number of measures to get around the regulations that limit what you can illustrate. And it made a lot of people upset because they actually had a lot of high fees. It was like 7.5% fees to participate in their bonus options. And their illustrations would illustrate that you have a downside protection. So if the index goes to zero, you just get a 0% credit. Well, they never educated people on the fact that they still had 7.5% charges because of all these bonus options that they would opt into. And so even on a 0 year, they would go negative 7.5%, which means on a positive year, they're going to have to make way more than that to make that up. And so it was just, there were bad policies. It caused regulation changes in the whole industry. And one of those changes is now that we can't illustrate, and we can't do an illustration where an illustration with a bonus option performs better than an illustration without a bonus option. Kind of strange, especially when we're dealing with companies that have good bonus options that were not shady. But when I illustrate the same policy that I used to illustrate, if I include the bonus, it doesn't look very good because it doesn't show the performance of it. And so it makes it challenging because, like, I still think those bonus options are the better choice to go. But I can't demonstrate that with the official illustrations. So it's pretty interesting. We'll see where that ends up going. I'm not sure exactly where that will lead. I can do a generic illustration that shows how the bonuses perform, which is strange in and of itself as well, because this generic illustration does not design the policies how I design the policies for high cash value. In fact, I don't know how it designs the policy at all. I just get to say the age of the person, and it spits out an illustration. So I'm under the assumption that it's a normal, typical, terrible design illustration that we're showing. But it will show the bonus option. So, pretty interesting. Let's see what you guys have to say here. Anthony, good evening. Cindy, crypto's climbing today. Oh, Manuel, crypto's climbing today. Cindy, your crypto was a little what? Ethereum is at all-time highs. I saw that. So that was pretty interesting. I have stayed away from crypto because it seems like every time I buy into it, it goes down. And I was only able to trade on Robinhood, and the fills weren't very good, and so it was really difficult. I made some good trades on it sometimes, but I made some bad ones on it too, and it was really hard to do very well on Robinhood. Oh, your crypto is moving a little. Good, good. I mean, hopefully you'll see some more. Ethereum was the one that was moving a lot. What's my thoughts on the market this week? Oh boy, there was a lot of thoughts that I give out during our live streams. And especially with all the restrictions that got put in place, those were very frustrating. Very frustrating. Unfortunately for me, it didn't impact my portfolio very much. I think I'm up from the beginning of January. I'm up 50% in one of my portfolios and 35% in the other one, I think. So I've been having a really good month. And in the last, let's see. Yeah, in fact, the last few days I've been up quite a bit each day. So it's been pretty nice. I think I was up 7% in each of my portfolios today. So having a good week. Having a good week. But I've mostly I've shifted my strategy, so I should be able to have good weeks regardless of what the underlying stocks are doing. So something I will talk more about in future videos once I can figure out how to educate everybody on it. Daniel, good evening. First time you catch me this late during the day. Good to know. So I do this. This is our Wealth Care Wednesday live stream. I do it every Wednesday. And this is our number 28, which means I've been doing it for over 6 months. I haven't missed a Wednesday yet. Roque, how you doing? Good evening. Anthony, how can I get a home loan on first home and get a HELOC on a second home, use it for dynamic banking and infinite banking? You just got to go talk to your banker. There shouldn't be any issues doing that. Now, is the second home paid off, or do you have a loan on your second home as well? Because there shouldn't be any issues getting a home loan on the first one. And if you don't already have a loan on your second one, is the second one a rental? Is it just a vacation home, or is it just a second home that you go to, but you don't really call it a vacation home? That can make a difference. Can make a difference on what loan opportunities are out there. But if you don't have a loan on your second home at all, banks would probably be tripping over themselves to give you a HELOC on it. Even if it's a rental. Even if it's a rental, you should probably be able to get a HELOC on it as well. I would check first with whoever you do your banking with. And the reason I would check first with them is because it's easiest to do dynamic banking and maximizing the use of every dollar that flows through your hands if your HELOC or your line of credit is at that same bank. That way, every dollar that comes into your hands, you can immediately, just with a few buttons on your phone, move that, or on the computer, move it into the line of credit and start offsetting interest charges. And then when you want to pay your bills, you can just have it automatically transfer from the line of credit back into your checking account, where you can have bill pays go out or automatic payments, automatic withdrawals. So it's definitely recommended to check with whoever you do your checking with first. If they can't do it for you, or if they won't, find another bank that will and move your checking account to there. Because you will find it so much easier. You're going to be able to offset more interest if you have the ability to move it in just a few minutes between checking and line of credits. So hopefully that helps. And if I see you respond to some of those questions about the second home, I will be able to elaborate further. Chris Birch, hey, how's it going? Loves my content on the live streams. Would love a simple explanation on buy or selling puts and calls. Basic explanation would be great for all on here. Okay, so, I noticed Anthony said second home and it's paid off. Yeah, you shouldn't have any trouble getting a home equity line of credit then. And it probably doesn't matter if you get your home loan first on your other home and the HELOC second, or vice versa. Really won't make much of a difference as long as you got decent credit and you got the income to support it. So a simple explanation on buying or selling puts and calls. So puts and calls are options. They're options on stocks, but it's not just options on stocks. I mean, you can relate this to something outside of the stock market. And oftentimes when I'm trying to explain it to a layperson who's not familiar with the stock market, I would say, maybe you're familiar with real estate. And with real estate, if there's a house that I want to buy, I might go to that owner and say, I'd like to buy your house, but I would like to lease it for a while first before I buy it. So I would like to lease it, but have the option to buy it. So I'm going to give that person money for that option to buy it. And what that does is it gives me control of the house. If I have the option to buy it, they can't sell it to anybody else. So it's my option, and I have a certain time period to exercise that option. When you're doing it with a house, you might have a year or 2 years that you're leasing this house from them before you have to make a decision. Now, if you decide not to exercise that option, they get to keep the money that you paid them for the option. If you do exercise it, now you're just going to exercise whatever it was that you paid, whatever the agreement was. Okay? The seller of the house gets to keep the option premium regardless. Now I have control of the house. I can do whatever I want with the house for that year or two while I'm leasing it. I can rent it out to somebody else. I can sell that option to somebody else, or I can exercise it at any point in time. It works the same way with options on the stock market. You're just buying an option to purchase some shares. That's with a call. You're buying an option to purchase some shares. With a put, what you're buying is the option to sell somebody shares at a certain price. So the puts are a little more complicated to kind of get that into your head. But if I buy a put, if I buy the put at a $100 strike price, that gives me the right to say whoever buys that contract from me has to buy 100 shares of the underlying stock for $100. That's what that put allows me to do. Now, why would I do that? I would do that to protect my downside. So if I'm in this stock for $125 and I think, or the stock's at $125 or it's at $100, whatever it's at, above 100, and I'm thinking, I would love the ability that if the worst thing happens, the market drops out from under us, I can still get $100 for that stock. That's what a put is for. So I would find out how much is a put. How far out do I need to go? You can choose different expiration dates. So you got to know and you got to figure out what is the time frame going to be in order to fit the protection that you need. So if I need just protection this week because I'm going to sell the stock next week, I expect a big event to happen. Maybe we've got earnings coming up and I'm sitting on the stock and I want to make sure that if earnings go badly for some reason, I'm protected. You buy the put, and if the stock drops, I can still sell it at the price, the strike price of the put. Now I'm still out the option. Okay, so there's always a break-even period. So if I bought the 100 strike, and let's say I paid $500 for it, that means my net is going to be, my break-even is going to be if the stock drops below $95. Then it was worthwhile for me to buy that put and then exercise it if the stock drops. If it doesn't drop below that, I mean, as long as it drops under 100, I'm going to exercise it if I want to give up, or if I want somebody to buy my shares. But you don't have to. You have the opportunity to exercise it if you want to. Usually if it's in the money, you do it. Okay, because you want to recoup some of that cost that you spent. And then when you sell them the stock, you could buy back the stock at whatever the price is. But you're going to have the $100 per share. So that's how the puts work. On the call side, obviously you're buying the option to purchase shares at a certain price. So on the flip side, you buy an option at $100. You buy the $100 strike price. Now, regardless of where that stock price goes, I have the option to buy it at $100. And I'm going to pay somebody for that opportunity. Typically, you don't want to exercise it if it's less than $100. That's considered out of the money. At expiration date, that's considered out of the money. There's no reason to exercise it because you could just go buy the shares for less. If the stock price is $95, I'm not going to exercise my call to buy shares at $100. I'm going to let that expire worthless, and I'm just going to buy the shares if I want them. So that's how the calls work. Hopefully that answers your question. Feel free to ask some more if you want some more information. Talon and Claw, how you doing? Did you make it in time for the giveaway? No, you didn't. No, the giveaway, we gave away $250 during our live stream this morning. And we gave away $250 yesterday during our live stream. And we also gave away 2 laptops on Monday. So yeah, yesterday, day before. We've been giving away a bunch of stuff this week. So if you guys aren't in our Discord, if you're not a member of the channel, you gotta join. Get that green name, get the badge, and hit the like button, subscribe, so that you get notifications. You want to find out when we're giving stuff away. And we're having fun doing it too. Daniel to Anthony, maybe talk with a mortgage broker. They have some interesting creative financing for real estate. Maybe they're better than a banker. Try stretch that funds availability. Maybe you buy 2 or 3. Yeah, there's all kinds of things you can do. You could even potentially get a home loan and a HELOC on your first home and leave the second one paid off, or get a regular loan on the second one. I actually prefer to get a regular mortgage as the first loan on a property and have a HELOC as the second mortgage. And the reason I like that is because typically you're going to want access to a lot of your equity. And if you want access to a lot of your equity, a HELOC's not necessarily the best choice because you get a higher rate. It's typically a higher rate than your regular mortgage. So regular mortgages right now are under 3%. HELOC, you're probably still going to be over 3 or 4%. Depends on the institution. But there's some still even over 6%. So you're better off if it's like a $100,000 loan that you want to get out of this house. You might be better off getting an $80,000 regular mortgage and then a $20,000 HELOC. As long as the HELOC can meet your needs for absorbing all of your income, being able to flow all of your income through it. There's also some products out there that you can combine the two, where you have an all-in-one mortgage, where it's just one large HELOC, but you get the better rate of a regular mortgage, and they will fund a much larger portion than your regular HELOCs are limited to. And then the payback period is a little bit different as well. You end up with a little bit longer time that you can draw from it. And when you start paying it back, when you get past the draw period, when you start paying it back, it doesn't just cut off like a regular HELOC where you're now in the payback period, you can no longer draw from it. No, with the all-in-one, you can still draw from it, but the amount you can draw reduces each month so that it ends up being paid off at the end of 30 years. So, pretty interesting stuff out there. Good luck finding the product that meets your needs. And feel free to reach out and ask some questions if you can't find the answers. But I do recommend a mortgage broker. A mortgage broker is good for being able to shop the rates out there on your home loan. But the banks themselves are going to be the ones who do the HELOCs. Banks or credit unions. So you're probably going to need to talk to both. Now, it's possible whoever you get your mortgage through, they might have somebody they regularly work with for the HELOCs, and they might recommend someone. So don't necessarily have to go with that person. I would shop around and find out who has the best HELOCs for what you're trying to do. But, you know, especially at wherever you do your checking already. But that's a good place to start. Heslig, how you doing? Good evening. Now, I did not get a lot of sleep last night, and I can feel it in my voice. So you guys are going to start seeing me flag. I get kind of tired during these Wealthcare Wednesday live streams if we go on for too long. So keep those questions coming. You guys got to keep me energized here so that we can hit our hour. I'm always committed to doing an hour here. But I was up at I think I was up at 1 a.m. this morning, and I couldn't get back to sleep. Happens to me often. I get up at 1 to check the stocks just to see what's going on. I wanted to find out what GameStop was doing. AMC. See what those are doing. I'm not in GameStop right now, but a lot of our viewers are. So I still like to follow along and see what's going on. And then I have a hard time getting back to sleep. So sometimes, I did go to sleep early though last night. I think I fell asleep around 8 o'clock. So 5 hours of sleep, which is about typical for me. Any recommendations on the Roth IRA? It depends on what you want to do with it, Manuel. So what are you looking to do with your Roth IRA? Chris Birch, has Webull been limiting anything on your end? They seem too good here. They seem to be good here? Is that what you meant to say? They seem to be good there? Webull, I didn't encounter limitations because I don't trade much on Webull. I just have my Roth IRA in Webull, and I can't trade options in my Roth on Webull. So I just buy and hold stocks in it. I do switch stocks once in a while. In fact, I'll switch it whenever I think that there's a better stock that I can ride up for a little while. So if there's a catalyst coming up. And that's been working very well, surprisingly. I'm actually up over 100% on that account since last September. So I started with 6,000 last September, and I think I'm at 13,300. At one point earlier this week, because I'm sitting on quite a bit of CCIV, I was up over 14, almost to 15,000. So when CCIV takes off, that account's going to be looking pretty good. Manuel, okay, minimum investment amount. Minimum investment amount. That doesn't quite answer my question. What are you going to do with the Roth IRA? I don't know what minimum investment amounts are, but the maximum you can put in each year is $6,000. Unless you're over 50, you can do catch-up. You can go up to $7,000. I highly recommend Roth IRAs. I highly recommend self-directed IRAs. You're retiring in 15 years, need to save some money. You know it's late, but you got to start sometime. Yeah, and if you're going to be doing the trading yourself, you want to do a self-directed IRA. That way you can do all the trading you want, and you don't have to worry about paying taxes on it. So I love the Roth for that. Love it, love it, love it. There's a couple of things you can do for that. So you're getting started a little late. You can contribute to the Roth. You can contribute $6,000 to the Roth each year. Now, you can contribute to last year's Roth all the way up until you file your taxes this year. So you could contribute today. You can contribute $12,000 to a Roth. Now, if you're retiring in 15 years, maybe that means that you're over 50. So maybe you can do 7,000 or 14,000 because you can contribute for last year's and this year's right now. The other thing you can do, if let's say you're 50 on the dot, I think that means you can contribute 7,000 for this year and 6,000 for last year. So unless you turned 50 last year, if you turned 50 last year, you could contribute 7,000 for both years. Double check on that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. So in that case, as long as you do it before April, you can put 14,000 in. That would be a great start. You won't be able to day trade with it, but you're going to be in a retirement account. It'll be a good chance to get going slowly and make sure you're trading well. But you should be able to do options if you get a good deal, a good brokerage. So don't do your Roth IRA in Webull if you want to do options. I would recommend Fidelity. Fidelity, you can do options, and they didn't put up any restrictions this last week. So I would check with Fidelity. Check with Fidelity, especially if you want to be doing the trading yourself. Now, you could always have somebody else manage it as well. So, the other thing I wanted to say about the Roth IRA, there's a loophole if you wanted to put in more money than the 12,000 or the 14,000. You don't necessarily want to do it, like I wouldn't necessarily do it this year, but you could do it next year. So if you if you accidentally contribute too much to it, let's say you contributed 2 years and you weren't able to, you're only allowed to contribute 1 year. Well, at the end of the year, the remedy for that is, I forget what the actual term is, but you withdraw the extra that you put in along with the growth, and you're going to be required to pay taxes on the growth. Okay? An alternative to that is you don't pull it out. If you don't pull it out, next year when you file your taxes, that money can either be considered the distribution for the following year, and you'll end up paying a 6% tax, 6% penalty tax on the excess amount you put in this year. Now, if you can do like me and get 100% return, that 6% tax is nothing. Like, and you got to keep all the growth in there, and you got to keep the money in there. So you just accelerated the funding of your Roth, and it's going to grow tax-free forever, and you don't have to worry about it. That's if you use the funds. You can use the funds to pay the next year's. Now, you don't have to use the funds to pay next year's. You can just keep paying that 6% penalty each year if you wanted to, until you can absorb it into there without having to worry about that. So if there's a year that you don't contribute. So, like I said, if you can get really good returns on that, it might be worth the penalty. Now, remember I said if you accidentally do it. If it looks like you're doing this on purpose, they might call you out on it. All right? So, you got to decide what's going to work for you. Maybe talk to your accountant. But yeah, there's definitely ways that you can make it happen. Manuel, thank you. Appreciate that. And you're welcome. Appreciate the tip. Let's see. Stock Journey. Nope. Let's see. Daniel says, you are more into startup space. Do you know someone that would fund such things? You need a fundraiser or a crowdfunder. You're not a technical guy. Okay. If I understand that correctly, that tells me what you're trying to do is you want to buy some real estate that you can turn into like cubicles or rooms or spaces within it that you can rent out to startups. Is that right? Let me know if I'm on the right track there. Stock Journey. James, a little off topic here, but you've been doing a little bit of digging into Ford, and it's starting to look like a good decision. Tomorrow you'll be taking a 300-share position. You think this one's a sleeper we need to keep an eye on? Nice. I just sold my Ford today. I got some free Ford stocks, and it had gone up 7%. And I was like, oh, I was looking at the graph, and it looked like that was a nice little up on it. And so I got out. But good for you. If you can see some more upside, I definitely think there's a possibility. Ford has a lot of EVs that are coming up, and if they can come out and do well with their F-150, and if that's a popular EV, that would be huge for them. It can make a big difference. I mean, they still have a lot of debt and stuff. I don't know how high their stock's going to go, and I think they pay dividends. So there's things that are going to limit it from going up too much, but good luck on your trade. Tiger, simple thumb rule for cryptocurrency. No matter how good a coin is, never trade at the peaks. Exception is Bitcoin, but that I would not trade. We'll just keep buying. What do you mean never trade at the peaks? You don't like to sell it at the peak? Or just not buy it at the peak? I mean, none of us try to buy anything at the peak. But you don't know when the peak is. Manuel, what's a good company to start with self-directing IRA? Fidelity. Hesleg, can I explain how to roll covered calls? You don't quite get it. Okay. What platform are you using? Tell me what platform you're using. I will explain how to do it for that platform. Jones says, just to be clear, you just refinanced your condo. You're looking to do dynamic banking. Should you get a first lien HELOC or otherwise? It depends on how much of your home equity you want to unlock. So a first lien HELOC, I'm not a big fan of if you're accessing large amounts that you're not going to have the ability to offset. The reason we do dynamic banking is we want to take chunks from our HELOC, put it towards either a debt or an investment. And with the balance that's in our HELOC, we're going to put all of our income into it to bring that daily balance down, reducing our interest. Now, as a first lien HELOC, let me start back over just a little bit. I'm not a fan of equity. Equity doesn't do anything for you except sit there doing nothing. And for you to access that equity, you have to get approval to access it. So if it comes down to an emergency situation, you lose your job, we end up in a pandemic, everybody's tightening up, we have a real estate crash, the banks tighten up their lending, you're not going to be able to access the equity in any of those situations. So you want to make sure that you have access to that equity ahead of time. A home equity line of credit is a great way to access that equity, okay? For me, I like to have access to as much of that equity as I can. All right? Most of your HELOCs are limited in how much equity they will access. So, a couple of things working against my recommendation of first lien HELOC. That is, one, they usually have a limit on how much you can borrow. Some places it's $150,000, which might be more than enough for a condo, but it might not be, okay? The other thing working against you is your regular mortgage is probably a lot cheaper. Interest-wise, it's probably a lot cheaper than a home equity line of credit. In that case, I would rather get a home equity or a regular mortgage for the bulk of it and just use a home equity line of credit for the remainder. Now, you're going to have to figure out how much you need in that HELOC, right? How much income are you going to have coming in that you're going to be able to offset? If you have $30,000 a month that comes in income, you're going to probably want a $40,000 or $50,000 HELOC at least. All right. If you have $10,000 a month that comes in, you might only need a $10,000 or $15,000 or $20,000 HELOC, $30,000 HELOC. I wouldn't get too extreme because it's all about the interest rates. We want to make sure that wherever our money is sitting, it's in the debt instrument that has the lowest interest rate. For the most part. It's okay if the HELOC has a little higher interest rate because we're going to be offsetting those charges. Chris Birch, your 2 cents. You have self-directed solo 401k with a directed IRA, traditional Roth with Janney, and another self-directed IRA with Millennium Trust. Just a few names for folks to research. I haven't heard of either of those. So, very good. I love the self-directed 401k though. Awesome. Triniking, AMC's at 892. Nice. Daniel, no, you want to raise funds to fund various startups early stage before they can get funding from banks. Oh, okay. You said startup space. So I was thinking a location. You want to raise funds to fund various startups. Okay. You're probably going to need securities then. I mean, if you're funding startups and you're pitching that to people, you're going to need, it's a security that you're offering. So you're going to need a lawyer. You'll have to have this all set up so it's just like a security. It's kind of a complicated way to do it, but that's what you're going to want to do. Otherwise, you'll probably get in trouble with the SEC. It's not my area of expertise, but I would be surprised if that's not accurate. I'm fairly confident that you're basically going to be offering securities, and you'll have to treat it as such. There's a number of different ways you can go about that. So if you can get it started, there's a number of different ways to do it, and you can either go to what's the name of it? It's a certain type of investor. It's the approved investors. Can't think of the name of it. It's on the tip of my tongue. Accredited. There's accredited investors, which you can go to without having to do a whole bunch of paperwork. It's cheaper to get it done that way. There's like 3 or 4, maybe more options, but that's one of the main ones. You can just target regular people, though. You can target regular people, but it requires a more complicated setup. So more fees to get that set up with lawyers. But you'll definitely need a lawyer to write up those paperwork. Hesleg, you're using Robinhood. Okay, so to roll an option in Robinhood, I will show you with my account. So I'm going to go into the options chain. In this case, I'm going to take Apple. Okay, I'm going to take Apple. We'll see if we can see this. It's green, so it may not show up. Yeah, it doesn't show up because it's green. I've got a green screen behind me. Anyways, the 137 strike, I have one of those. This is a put. I have a 137 put. Over here in the top corner is the word select. Okay, you want to push that button, and what turns up is some circles next to each of these. Okay, now you're going to want to look at the top. It says buy, sell, and it says call or a put. Since that's a put down there, I want to make sure that's a put. This is a put that I sold. So we need to close that one. In order to close it, I sold it to open. I need to buy it back to close. So I want to make sure that I've got buy put checked. So buy put is checked at the top. I'm going to click next to it. You can't see it because there's a green dot, but I clicked the green dot. And then I'm going to sell another one for the next week. So at the bottom, it's lit up and it just tells me what that one is that I've inputted so far. So then I'm going to swipe to the side, and that'll take me to February 12th. Okay? Oh, I was on February 12th. I'm going to swipe to the side. I'm going to go to February 19th. So I'm going to roll this 1 week to the side. Now, the price that I have to buy that one back for is $468. So when I swipe to February 19th, I'm going to look at that exact same strike price, and it looks like I can sell that one. So I'm going to hit the sell button at the top here. I'm going to hit the sell button, and I'm going to sell that same strike price. I don't have to sell the same one, but I want to get a credit. Right now I can sell it for $543. So if I check that one, now at the bottom it says I have 2 options selected down here at the bottom. So I'm going to tap that, and it's going to pop up, and it tells me the 2 options I have selected, and it tells me if I'm going to do a debit or a credit. So that debit or credit, I told you I'm looking for a credit. That's why I'm rolling it. I'm rolling it so I'm getting a credit for it each week. So I can get a $75 credit if I were to roll that right now. I can't do it now because the market has to be open, but that's a $75 credit. So if I tap review, now it's going to pop up. It's going to ask me how many of those contracts would I like to sell. Well, I only had 1, so I just have to type 1. And then you get to do your price. You get to do your price, and it'll tell you your credit and put it into order. That's it. That's how you roll a put. You can roll a call the exact same way. If you had sold the covered call, you have to buy it back to close that one, and you sell another one. Now, you're able to do that without having to have a whole bunch of cash on hand. You don't have to have enough cash to buy that back. Okay, your margin can do that. Your margin can work for you to do that. So that's the advantage of rolling it. If you didn't want to roll it, you could just buy it back, and then later on in the day, if the stock price is moving quite a bit, you could wait for the stock price to go up and then sell the next one. Or you wait for the stock price to go down if you're doing a put. Sell the next one. All right. Richard Ireland, Hyundai and Apple, good stock buy or what? Does Hyundai, I haven't looked up Hyundai, I should. Because I imagine that's why Apple's taken off right now. Because Hyundai and Apple are most likely teaming up to do the Apple car. I don't know if Hyundai is in our market. It doesn't show up on Webull. It doesn't show up on Robinhood. So I don't know if you can buy stock on Hyundai here. It might just be in like Singapore or something. Different exchange. Mike Jones, yo. Kelman, how's it going? Good evening. Oliver, how's it going? Anthony, you spoke with CU and banks, credit union and banks already. We'll try mortgage broker. Trying to pay off $80,000 in debt, start infinite banking and trucking business. Okay, cool. So I would try to pay off the $80,000 in debt with your mortgage, with the first mortgage, if you can, on your first house. Otherwise, maybe you can do it with your second one, with the first mortgage on the second house. That would be what I would try to do. I wouldn't try and roll $80,000 into a HELOC. If you have to, go for it. But if you don't have to, I would rather roll it into a regular first mortgage. Somebody's putting thumbs down on the video? Boo. Ben Q, how's it going? Any input on Minnesota Life IUL? I'm contracted with them. I haven't seen a good illustration from it. I haven't really tried with them, but I'd be surprised if it can compete with the best IULs that I can do out there with like Allianz. I mostly have seen it with Whole Life. Somebody had a Whole Life one that they were looking at getting with Securian, I think. But when I got contracted with them, I looked into the IULs. I don't remember because it's been at least a year since I got contracted with them. But I always dig into the IULs when I first get contracted to see if it's any good. And I can't say I was impressed. So, I mean, if you can see it and you think it works good, send it to me. Let me know. I'll dig back into it again. But I haven't even tried to log into their site for a while. You're welcome, Heslig. Christopher, how do I think Snap will do for earnings tomorrow? Good question. I don't follow Snap, so I have no idea. They blew the last earnings out of the water, and so they took off right afterward. Has Snap already taken off in anticipation of this earnings? Because last time was a bit of a surprise. This time the earnings might be built in. It has. So it's gone up 17% this last week. The earnings may already have priced in an earnings beat. But last time it was a surprise, and I think it went up 40% after the last earnings, if I recall. This has gone up 17%. I would be surprised if it's not already built into it. We'll see. Oliver, does credit build faster if you have more than one credit card? Yes. Yeah, I think ideally you want to have at least 3 credit cards and use them. That doesn't mean carry a balance, but all you have to do is just keep them active. What I recommend is get at least 3 cards, put like your Netflix bill on one, and have it automatically pay it off each month. Put another recurring bill, small one, on another one. You want to have like at least $10 a month, right? And then the third one you do for your regular everyday expenses. Use that for dynamic banking. You're going to pay it off every month, but you want to get all the rewards points that you can and want it to be a rewards card and put every expense that you can on it because you get 30 to 60 days of free use of their money. And then you just pay it off. Pay it off each month. You get the rewards, you get free use of their money, and if you're doing dynamic banking, you get to offset those interest charges at the same time. Thus saving you money, maximizing that cash flow. You're researching cards now. All right. So Discover's a good one as far as rewards. They don't give you a very large line of credit, but it's okay. Flagstar gave me the biggest line of credit. That one's a good one for getting large line of credit, and you can start off with a 0% interest, but they don't have rewards. There's no rewards points. It's good to have if you just want to access 0% for a year. Put that money to work. That's what I was looking to do. So, what other cards? Chase. Chase is a good one. You get some good rewards with Chase. If you can get a business card, I highly recommend a business card. You might need to build up. You might need to build up a business to make it happen. But with a business card, if you get a 0% on that, If you get a 0% on a business card, you can actually use it all without it hurting your credit because it won't show up on your credit. Not all business cards won't show up, but the Chase ones don't show up on your credit. So I have 0% interest. I'm going to max that thing out for the year. And then on the last day of the last month that I have that 0%, I'll pay it off. That's my plan. And in the meantime, I'm putting that money to work for me. Richard, don't say tap that. It's slang for something else. Did I say tap that? How can someone put thumbs down on this? This is free financial education. Yeah, I don't know. Harry Bowman, how you doing? How you doing? I don't know why people put the thumbs down on it. People don't like me giving away for free what they like to charge for, maybe. Farlamus, how you doing? Your credit is 800 plus with no credit cards. Do you really need one, or will the benefits be minimal? That depends. What do you have on your credit? I mean, it sounds like if you have an 800 plus, you got something on your credit that's doing you good. Now, the top scores out there are 850 to 900. So if you added some credit cards, your score would probably get a little bit higher. The main reason why I recommend everybody have a credit card, I think everybody needs to have a rewards credit card. And I did a video on this. It's titled, Why Should Everybody Have a Rewards Card? You're basically missing out. So if you and I both go to the store, and let's say we go to, let's say Amazon, okay? I can get 5% off with my Discover card on Amazon. I can get 5% credit, okay? So if we both go buy a nice big TV at Amazon, we use it for a year, and then we go to sell it. Let's say this TV costs $1,000, all right? This TV costs $1,000. We're going to both go to sell it next year. I mean, maybe not next year, but for the example, we both go to sell it next year, and you are looking at recouping as much as you can of $1,000, whereas I only need to recoup as much as I can of $950. So if somebody comes in and wants to haggle, I'm going to have $50 more that I can move to sell that for. So I got in at a better price because I had a rewards card. So if you don't have a rewards card, you're losing ground to everybody that does and that's using those. So that's an easy explanation for it, to put it into perspective. But why wouldn't you want a discount? A rewards card just gives you a discount. It doesn't charge you any extra money. All of these businesses already build that into their pricing. So they're building into their pricing everybody else using their rewards card except you. So you're missing out. Not only are you getting charged more from the store for the product that you're buying, but you're not getting that discount that everybody else is getting. So I highly recommend getting a rewards card. May not need it for your credit, but get the free stuff. Some of them offer like free phone insurance. If you pay your phone bill, if you pay your cell phone bill with that credit card, they'll provide you free insurance on your phone. So if you break your phone, they'll replace it. Some of them offer, let's see. Yeah, I don't know. There's just a bunch of stuff out there. There's all kinds of ways that you can take advantage of using credit cards. Free rental car insurance for some of them. Some of them will give you free airport lounge access. I mean, there's all kinds of ways that you can make it work for your lifestyle. Chris Birch, your experience on a biz line of credit. Amex is good for 0%, 12 months. Chase, good for 0%, 12 months. Fulton Banks, 0 for 12 months. Capital One is okay, but does show on personal credit. Yep, Capital One is the one that shows on the personal credit. That's good. Fulton Banks. I need to write this down because I'm going to be looking to get another 0% credit card soon. Fulton Bank. And American Express. And I already got the Chase one. Thank you. Harry Bowman. If you've got no lines of credit at all, you will often be rewarded a high score because there are no negative things to report on your file. However, if you don't have a credit history, lenders won't see a score. They'll see nothing and will be hesitant. Yes, that's true. You gotta have some score on there. Stock Journey. You were thinking about creating a new altcoin. Are there too many out there already, or should you go for it? You'll name it Journey Coin. Name will come from creating a new string in the blockchain. Interesting. I've never looked into creating a new coin. So there are a lot of them. There's like thousands out there. Harry says, definitely not too many altcoins. If you can come up with something creative and unique that catches, it'll explode. So people were talking about Elon Musk suggesting he create an altcoin, the X coin, for SpaceX. And he's got that website, x.com. That would be awesome. So you could scoop him on that, create the X coin, and then sell the rights to him. Farlamus, well, watch my video on it. It's free info after all. Yes, it is. Mary, thank you. I much appreciate that. Appreciate the tip. Stock Journey, you're decent at coding, so you think you can make it happen for sure. All right. Nice. Harry, his Amex Gold just upgraded me to 10 free visits per year to 1,300 global airport lounges. Wow, 10 a year. You must be doing some traveling. JFK has some really nice lounges. I've never been in any of those lounges. MX Business Blue is the one that is the best, Chris Birch says. Harry says it very much depends on how much you spend and what rewards you prefer. Stock. Dang, I couldn't for sure make a SpaceX coin. You're going to work on it. Oh, you could. You could for sure make a SpaceX coin. You're going to work on it. All right, nice. I bet that would be popular. I bet that would be instantly popular. And then you can try and get Elon Musk to buy it from you. Get the rights. Harry, you're doing loads of traveling right now? Really? So you're the super spreader. Somebody notify Boris Johnson. Stock Journey, you're in. All right, good luck, man. You can put me down for some royalties on that for coming up with the idea. Well, for giving you the idea. Somebody else came up with it. I just stumbled across the chat. All right. Hopefully I answered all those questions from earlier. If you guys got anything else, let me know. We got about 7 more minutes. And then I got to do my research for tomorrow's stock market. Harry, you haven't left your area once this bloody year. Sucks. Hope to use those visits at some point. You just said you're doing loads of traveling right now. Are you just traveling right there in the UK? Oh, sarcasm. Gotcha. Okay. Right on. Yeah, before the pandemic, I had put 80,000 miles on my Hyundai Ioniq in a year and a half. Since then, since March of last year, I've probably put 1,000 miles on it. Maybe. Probably not, maybe not even that much, actually. It's just been sitting in my driveway. I spend all my time now doing live streams with you guys. Why did my stock market freeze today? Streamlabs and my computer do not work well together sometimes. Although, I figured out I was way overloaded with some videos that were saved. And I got all those deleted. So it freed up a lot of space. That usually is the culprit. It's usually the culprit. So I was down to like 40 megabytes free out of 500. Or no, gigabytes. 40 gigabytes out of 500 gigabytes. So now I'm back up over 150. Live stream should work okay now. So hopefully that fixes it. Mary, thanks for your videos, valuable content. You don't always get to watch live. You're welcome. Thank you for thanking me. It's always nice to know that people are finding value from it. That's what I'm here to try to do. Christopher, did I hear anything else of why CCIV dipped 10% today? No, just what we talked about when it happened. Somebody had put out that there was an article, I think, was it the Wall Street Journal, that said they were still in talks, but the deal was not imminent. And so with it not being imminent, people decided they're going to get out before other people get out. I think that's why it dropped so fast. Somebody was just quick on the trigger. I guess they figured they'll sell right then and buy it after it dips. Richard, you thought it was the ding ding. I don't get the ding ding for some reason. It doesn't happen very often, and I haven't figured out why. I don't know what the deal is with that. I sure wish I could figure it out, though. You're welcome. You're welcome. Any other questions? Any other questions? We got 3 minutes left. 3 minutes, and then I want to get some sleep, do my research for tomorrow. Christopher, Wall Street bets will see that as stock manipulation. The story? Sure. Happens all the time, though. Trini King, never use Ally Bank. They margin called you because you couldn't sell your 15 AMC call contracts because their platform wasn't working. Wow, really? Turns out you're not the only person they did it to last Friday. Did they sell your calls? They called you on it and then sold them? With TD Ameritrade, I got it wasn't a margin call, but it was a maintenance call. I called in and they said you typically have 5 days to correct the maintenance call before they'll take action. He said unless it's like something extreme, they might do it sooner without notice, but their typical response is giving you 5 days. So that's nuts if Ally did that. That's crazy. Harry needs to get some sleep. Have a good one. See you, Harry. Kern, how was your trading yesterday? You mean today for me? It was really good. So I ended up, I've had a really good month and a really good week. On my Robinhood account, for the day, I'm up $6,000. And for the month, I'm up $27,000, which is a 51% increase in my account. In my Thinkorswim, today, I was up over $5,000. And for the month, I'm up over 36%. So I'm having a really good month. Making some nice trades. And it's funny because none of these are trades where I've hopped in. Like they're not risky. I'm not doing any risky trades. These are income trades. That's what I was talking about doing a video on, or doing a course. I'm going to be doing a course on it. I'm going to probably try and get that next week so that I can put a course out there and train people on how to do it. Because it should work whether the stock's going up or down. So, yeah, I'm doing really well. Triniking, they exercised it. Wow. Yeah, class action, good luck. I hope you do, and I wish you luck in it, because that's bull. That is a bunch of bull. Stock journey, going to be tough. You got to create new nodes and integrate APIs. I don't know what any of that means because I don't do that stuff. But good luck. Kern, you're going to get my course, so hurry up. Okay. I am. When I do it, I'm probably going to put it out there for about $1,000. But I'm going to give it to all of our longtime members. I'll probably do it like $250. So it'll end up being a steal of a deal. And then you guys got to give me some good reviews though, if you like it and it helps you out, obviously. Don't give me a good review if it's not good. Check out the app Iris. It's the Instagram of stock portfolio. Huh. What does that mean? That's where everybody likes to share their portfolios? Sovon, how you doing, man? Yeah, you just missed it. We're just finishing up. Stock journey takes a lot of brain juice. You're going to need to buy a case of Monster and a few days off. I highly recommend. These are my favorites. I get these two and the pink one. Zero Ultra and Ultra Fiesta. This one's a green one. No, this one's a blue one. And white. And then the pink one, which is the Ultra Rosé. Oh, that's my favorite. Those are good, and they're no calories. That's why I like them, because I don't need to be sitting here getting more fatter. I also post Discords, my trades on Discord. Sometimes, not very often. I basically don't have the time, and otherwise I forget. But yeah. All right, we have gone an hour. I'm gonna take off. I still got a lot of work to do tonight before I crash. So I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys showing up, asking a lot of good questions. I like to take the questions that I answer for these videos, and I'm cutting them up, and I'm putting them out as standalone informational videos. So it gives me, when you guys come up with these good questions, it gives me more material to work with. Because I really don't have time to do what I've been doing, which is just come up and edit and film full regular videos. I'm going to try and figure it out by next week. I'm going to try and figure out the course by next week. I don't know if I'll be able to get to it because things are just so busy. But I'm gonna really try. Because I know people are interested in it. So Soban, wait, hit the like. Hit the like, people. Who's the like people, and why would I hit them? Hit the like button, everybody. Please. Farlamus, dual Falcon 9 launches tomorrow, so you need to get a couple of those energy drinks to stay up for them. Nice, nice. Very good. Well, that usually spells good for the Virgin Galactic stock. So I'll be looking for that. I'll be looking for a bump there. Speaking of which, Virgin Galactic, their flight is next week. Kern, you love options income trades. Makes me very satisfied. I do too. I do too. And there's a lot of juicy ones out there that you can do really well on. So, all right. So take care, everybody. I'm going to play you out with some music. Appreciate you joining me. We'll be back again next Wednesday for Wealth Care Wednesday. So make sure you get those questions. Write them down if you need to. You can go to my website and you can record a message for me. If you go to my website, you record a message for me, and I play it on here, I usually give you a free t-shirt. So, something to keep in mind. I definitely prefer to have the questions asked by voice if we can get them. So, all right, take care, everybody. Oh, not that one. There we go. See ya. Good night, Janet.